the biggest disappointment in Ant-Man Quantumania. After years of waiting, we finally got to see the return of another Avenger in his solo movie. As excited as we all are, unfortunately, the movie has more than a couple of disappointments in tow. But before we get to that, y'all better watch out since we've got major spoilers up ahead. The majority of MCU fans were ecstatic about the release of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania because, well, it's Scott Lang.
Scott Lang.
I don't know who you are.
One of the crowd's favorites. Not only him, but we also get to see the rest of the Ant-Man crew when they once again return to the quantum realm. And this time, they band together to face Kang the Conqueror. But as exciting as this was, and even though it had some amazing scenes and grand battles, many viewers left the theaters feeling disappointed, and for various reasons.
They're cute, but they'll eat you. And don't get sucked into a time vortex. We won't be able to save you.
Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania didn't do as well as fans had hoped. And yeah, you could blame this on several factors, including the lack of beloved characters and recurring problems with the MCU's desire to build up future installments. Isn't the multiverse enough as it is? Anyways, one of the major things missing from the movie is the famed Scott Lang heist. Like, duh, it's a staple, at least in the previous movies it was. The first Ant-Man movie wowed viewers with a high-stakes robbery, as Scott Lang collaborated with Hank Pym to maintain possession of the Pym particles.
1987, separatists had hijacked a Soviet missile silo in Kursk.
Y'all remember that, right? That was pretty iconic. And then in Ant-Man and the Wasp, several heists got more difficult as time went on. Even Ant-Man's role in Avengers Endgame, involving the time heist of the Infinity Stones, was notable too. So how did it go from that to what happened in Quantumania? Unfortunately, the brief heist included in Quantumania saw Lang battling an army of Ant-Mans to shrink down Kang's multiversal engine, which was meh at best. There was little planning or skills involved, which let down some fans who were looking forward to another classic Scott Lang heist. And if you weren't disappointed in that, I'm sure as heck you're disappointed in MODOK's face. Like, what even is that? An attempt at humor? As Quantumania's major antagonist, Kang the Conqueror dominated the show. But he wasn't the only villain in the movie. A new variation of MODOK, the mental organism intended only for killing, one of Marvel's most peculiar characters, was also introduced in Quantumania. It was never going to be simple to recreate MODOK's distinctive aesthetic in a live-action setting. You'd think with all the modern technology and CGI available, Marvel would give us a very domineering MODOK, but no, what a letdown. However, in certain circumstances, the choice to transform an existing Ant-Man character into MODOK may have made sense from a narrative standpoint. The stretched-out face, however, startled both Ant-Man and his comrades, as well as the audience. Although Quantumania made fans chuckle inappropriately, MODOK is a funny villain, that much I can say. So those are two disappointing things about the movie.
Scott, I'll walk you up.
Let me introduce you to the third disappointment, the lack of progress in Scott and Hope's relationship. Though these two undoubtedly encountered some obstacles, Scott Lang and Hope Van Dyne's romance slowly grew throughout the course of both Ant-Man movies. So, you know, fans were expecting there were at least a few developments for them this time around. I mean, even in the last battle against Thanos' army in Avengers Endgame, there was a brief homage to their romance. But here's the thing, Quantumania didn't tap too much into their romance. Instead, it focused on their friendship, especially when Cassie developed into her own heroic role. Yeah, sure, friendship is cool and all, but it's like their progress went a step back. In the
secret vault. Tell me you brought the contact lens.
Yep.
end, Scott and Hope had a heartfelt exchange, but it seemed to be put on as an afterthought. For years, fans had watched the couple's romance develop, but then in Quantumania, there's but little to show for it. Boo. Now,
Oh, God.
You gotta lock your doors. I mean, really.
aside from these, the movie also lacked a lot of Ant-Man key elements. His skills, after all, were quite special, and it's one of the most awaited portions in all his scenes. In the past, we got to see a view of the world from a different perspective thanks to Ant-ability Man's ability to shrink down to insect size or expand into a strong behemoth. Those were pretty enjoyable, man. What happened to that? That was another Ant-Man regular. In the new movie, though, there was little shift in viewpoint due to Ant-Man and his pals being shrunk throughout most of the movie in the quantum realm. When Scott and Cassie both turned into giants during combat, the scale was too little for viewers to believe they were still in an Ant-Man movie. So,
Okay, I have a suit.
Yeah, I noticed.
enough about what Quantumania lacked, now let's talk about what doesn't work. Like the Freedom Fighters for one, what's up with that? So yeah, we were introduced to Kang the Conqueror in the movie, and along with him came a group of rebels opposing his reign, which Scott, Hope, and the others encountered in the quantum realm. One thing we do know is that they've got pretty funky clothing, but there's a certain mystery about their group. So is this another ploy of Marvel to expand their universe by introducing more characters? Probably. Not gonna lie though, a lot of fans were expecting to see Marvel's iconic Micronauts, and unfortunately, they were slightly let down, but not shocked. The Micronauts were prevented from appearing due to legal concerns, but the Freedom Fighters still included a few familiar characters, including their leader, Gentora. However, like the other Freedom Fighters, her relationship with Hulk and the Micronauts was never fully investigated. Between you and me, this is really a half-hearted effort on Marvel's side to expand the universe. So back to the disappointing turn of events. Darren Cross's arc was exactly that. Corey Stoll, the actor who played the role of Darren Cross /
That's actually something we hear about a lot of the Marvel movies.
Yellow Jacket in the first movie, was reinvented and gave birth to MODOK. And to recap, we all thought he died there. The man got pushed to the quantum realm by Scott, so what else could we expect? But little did we know, it was Kang who found him and reinvented him to MODOK. However, after Cassie Lang soundly defeated MODOK in the movie's closing seconds, MODOK's personality underwent a complete transformation. And like, dude, you'd thought it would be an epic battle that would make him turn, but it turns out to be another pep talk, this time given by Cassie. So in the end, Darren Cross was able to find forgiveness by giving up his life for them, coming around to their side. Cross's redemption, however, was forced and artificial, and it ultimately failed the character because he didn't deserve it. But overall, Quantumania made Ant-Man feel like a speck in the galaxy, which
Is it, Henry? You know how dangerous the quantum realm is.
they are in retrospect, but come on, the movie is about him. The fact that the bigger narrative occasionally eclipses the characters is one of the major problems with the MCU's distinctive approach to world building. This was really demonstrated by Quantumania, which gave Ant-Man the impression that he was only a little cog in a much bigger machine. For the wider multiverse saga of the MCU, the movie's emphasis on Kang the Conqueror was crucial, but with the exception of the quantum realm, Kang could have been introduced by practically any other MCU hero. Although Scott Lang may have played a role at the beginning of MCU Phase 5, his individual story didn't seem to be the main attraction of Quantumania. So yeah, these have been the biggest disappointments in Ant-Man Quantumania.